Assalamu alaikum. Hey guys, I'm back and welcome all of you to my new video tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use SQL codes to import a CSV file in your PgAdmin server. PgAdmin is a very popular software, more particularly in terms of dealing with, data or database. So let's jump into our tutorial without any more detail or delay. So once you open up the PgAdmin, you will be directed to this interface. Let's go to the server. Under server, you will be directed to so many options, but basically we'll be dealing with this database options. Database options is easily recognized with this cylindrical little icon, which denotes this is the database option. So first of all, I have to create my own database, and under this database, I will be creating a schema, and under schema, I will create tables, and within tables, I'm going to store all of my data which I'm intending to be stored like CSV or something like that. So first task is to create a new database. So how to create that? Just drag your cursor into this little icon and right click, go to the create, from create to database, and it will be just directed with this window. So here let's name our database with like tutorial. Okay, so once you are done with naming for database, you should be concerned about the owner. Owner must be under Postgres. That's thing you should be vigilant about. So there are a couple of options: definition, security, parameters, advanced, SQL, but we are no more concerned about that. We are only dealing with the general. Under general, we just name the database, and Postgres make sure it's linked with the owner. So before hitting the save button, let me just correct my misspelling here. I just misspell tutorial. It should be tutorial. Okay, so we are all done to create our new database. Hit the save button, and okay, look, once I'm done with my database creation, it's been dragged into there. A new database has been successfully added called tutorial, and under this tutorial database, there are a couple of options you can just explore: cast, catalogs, event triggers, extension. This is necessary for creating a new extension to add or to link with your PostgIS. That's what we are not doing right now. We'll do it later. And there are more options, but you don't need to be bothered anymore with all of this option except this one called Schemas. So I have already told that this is the hierarchy of storing your data. The first one is database, and under database, schemas. And schemas contain a lot of tables, and under table or within table, you will store data in column and something like that. So we'll be only dealing with schemas. If I just expand this schema, there are more couple of options here. You can just visualize collation domain, something like that. But we are staring at this option called tables. So here, within this table, we're gonna store our CSV data. So before creating our own table, we have to create our own schemas, because the schema right now is been shown here is an inbuilt or public schema, but we are required to create our own schema. So now let's create a schema. And how to do that? Just click this schema and right click it, go to create from create to schema. Okay, so here we have to put a name. Let's just keep the name as simple as possible. Let's name it USA, because all of data are based on USA. So I just name this USA. So once again, you have to make sure that your owner section is linked with Postgres. That's the only thing you have to be very, very cautious and careful about while you are creating your own schemas. So a link or nexus between owner is to Postgres. So there are more couple of options. You can explore it, SQL default, but we are not being bothered with that. Just let it go and hit the save button to create our own schema. Okay, look, once I'm done with creation of my own schema, before that the number was 2, but right now the number of schema has been extended to 2. Okay, so this is our own schema USA, and under this schema we are gonna create our own table. But before creating our own table, we have to make sure that we are fully prepared to load our data. I mean, we have to prepare our data like CSV, all the columns perfectly sorted and ready for being loaded here. So to do so, let's just, hang on for a second and minimize this. I will come back to this interface later after preparing my database, and I will do it with you guys. So let's go to the Excel file right now. Just a couple of seconds. Okay, so look at this. This is my file path tutorial, and here I have stored my 2 text file. So if I just click one, student information, here there are couple of columns, particularly 3 columns and 1 header. So the first column includes the last name, and second column includes the first name, and the third column includes associated postal code with those names. So like the first name Bruna and Tegan, something like that, last name. So subsequently here 14 names and first and last name and their associated postal code. And let me remind you that all these postal codes are based on USA. So now I'm going to convert this text file into CSV, and then I will just import that CSV into my Postgres or PgAdmin software. So first thing that I need to convert this text file into CSV. You can also import text file into PgAdmin directly, but we are opting for CSV in this tutorial. So now mission is to convert this student info into CSV file. That's why I just open up a new Excel file, going to open that text file. Here is the text file. Sometimes the file format is selected like this, but if you have text file or some other file format to be found, you have to click all files. When I just specified my file format, it's popped up. So we are going to convert student information into CSV. I just clicked it here. A couple of options, delimited. It says that my data has a header. Yes, my data has a header, like last, first, and postal code. These are my headers. So check this option. Just keep going. And here the delimiters type. So we are going to separate our data using just comma, not tab, neither space or nor anything else. So uncheck this tab and make sure you checked in comma. So just keep going and just click the finish button. Look, our text file, our text data has successfully been converted into like CSV or Excel file. When we'll save it, it's going to be saved as CSV. Until that, it's Excel file. But here we are going to insert a new column and fill that column with some numeric or GID value. I mean, like the index. So for that, let's insert a new column. Sorry. Okay. Let's insert a new column and name this column. Heading is GID. Let's use all lowercase. You can fill this column until 15 just manually putting the number 1, 2, 3. But I am not gonna do this. I'm just wanting Excel to do for me. So to do so, first let's put the first number and selected it and come back to, go to the fill option here, from fill to series. Here you will check, columns rather than rows. So the step value is number 1 and the stop value is here 14. I mean the last column value. Just click OK. Here, look, the values are automatically added in this column. Now the turn is to save this column as a CSV. Save as, go to the browser option, and here just select the file format as CSV. Where is the CSV? I can't see anymore. This is the CSV. Okay, so just save it. Click OK. Now if I just open up my files, look, student information, here is the CSV, has a new file has been added. And there is another postal code files, which you will do it by your own way. But in this tutorial, I'm just only concerned about this student info. Okay, now let's get back to the PgAdmin interface once again. And here we'll create our own table, and this own table will be stored under our schema called USA, which we had already created in our previous section, before creating our CSV file. So let's look for the table option here and just drag your cursor upon it and right click it, go to the create, from create to table, and start creating your table. Okay, so here you have to put a name, and the name as should be as simple as possible, because PgAdmin sometimes creates and has some issues with naming. So let's create a name and name it like student. Okay, so our table name is going to be student. And the owner section should be linked with, once again, Postgres. Be very, very careful about that. And schema, it shows up that our schema is USA. So this whole bunch of thing, like 3 rows, first 3 rows demonstrate that where our data is going to be deposited or where our table is going to be created. So this is the owner section under schema called USA, and the file, table name is going to be student. Now the very crucial part of creating a table to specify the data type and the column name. So let's switch over from general to column. And here a couple of options, couple of things that you need to remember. So to create the column, new column, you just will click the plus icon, and here under name, you will create your own column. So while creating your columns, we have to bear in mind that this should be aligned with the names given already in our Excel file like this. So here subsequently 4 columns. The first one, we should put the columns in accordance or in the order given as in it is in like Excel file. The order of column in Excel file should be same as in the PgAdmin. So based on the sequence and column names, I will write the same column in PgAdmin. So first one is demonstrated as GID, and the GID data type I am intending to put in integer. So GID data type, as it is, look, this is 1, 2, 3. So I just name it integer, and there is another reason which I have to declare as primary key. So that's why I just created a data type integer, and the name is GID. Length, precision, scale, you don't have to be bothered with that when it's integer. Only thing you have to check in is the primary key. So we declare GID data type integer is our primary key. Now we are going to create the second column that would be last as it is in our Excel file. And data type, let's declare it character varying. Why? Because when you know little about the data type, what it should be, then just to go for with character varying, because it's the safest data type of the situation when you are in conundrum of identifying or like fixing your data type, what should be. But when you specify data type character varying, you should specify as well the length or precision of the character varying. Let's put 60 as the length or precision. Just leave the other option default. And the third column is first as in Excel file. Once again, character varying, and precision or length is 60, same as in last. And the last column should be postal code. Postal code as it is in Excel file, CSV. Data type also, let's specify character varying once again, 60. So look at this once again to verify whether it perfectly aligns with your Excel file. Okay, GID last, first postal code. Make sure you did not do any misspell with writing your column's name. So it looks fine for me. Now let's hit the save button to create our own table name student. Look, under table option, our own table has been created, but we don't know whether the column has been added or not. So to verify it or to check it, just expand this. Look here, a column option pops up. So entering inside this column, you can check what is the name of the column, like GID, last, first, and postal code. Those are the column that we had created just a couple of seconds back. So we are all done to create our own table, and now we are going to load our CSV data under this table, particularly in column called GID, last, first, and postal code. So to load our data, we have to write some SQL codes. So how to create or how to write your SQL code on Where? Okay, let's go to the query tool, and once you are in query tool, there are two options. One is query editor and the other one is query history. So on your query editor, you will write your code to load your CSV data. So here we're going to use mainly three statements called copy, from, and with. The first SQL code starts with copy. Let's type copy here. Let me first thoroughly write my code, and then I will make you understand bit by bit. Okay, so I just wrote my first statement in capital letter, uppercase. This is a convention. When you are going to use any statement in SQL, you should just write the statement or close in capital letter. So I just followed this convention. So copy, now followed by the statement, I should specify the schema name. Here our schema is USA, and a dot should be followed by, and then we should add the table name. Here the table name is student. If you want to avoid the misspell, just go to the properties and copy this table name and paste here just after the dot. We are done with our first line code. We are going to write our second line code, which will be starting with another statement called from. Okay, so here we are gonna call upon the file path where our data right now, CSV file is stored. From that source, we will be linking, or we will be calling up on our data. So let's go to the file path where this is the student info. Just click it and copy this file path. Come back to the PgAdmin, paste here. The file path, as usual, should be enclosed with this inverted comma. Now we have to provide the name of the file. The name of the file is student info. Rename and copy. Once again, come back and paste here. Dot file format you have to specify. Okay, close the ending inverted comma. We are done with our second line code. Now the final line code, that will start with another clause called with. With is followed by a bracket. Within bracket, we will declare or specify some more properties of our file. File format, file header, and whether our file has any quotation mark or something like that. So as per our file, this is a CSV. So let's type format. This is another statement. Format is CSV. Okay, just put a comma to separate it. And secondly, we are going to specify whether our file has any header. So let's check it in the original file, in text file. Just here, look at this. Our file has 3 columns, and which are in header form. So last, first, and postal code, this is the headers. And also our file contains quotation marks, and quotation marks are text file are separated with comma. So basically we are observing 2 things here, and that is our file contains the header, also it contains the quotation mark. So just minimize it and come back to here. So for header, it's a Boolean value. So variable, we have to just specify true or false. Let's type header. Header is true for our case. Okay, just write this way. And okay, the last thing is we have to specify the quotation mark. So as we have seen that our file does include quotation, so let's type quotation, quote, and it also should be shown in symbolic way. Okay, so this is the symbolic way. Okay, so it means that our file has quotation mark, and that quotation we have enclosed with another single quotation. So this is the convention, and we use usually for SQL code. One thing we have to put is the semicolon at the end of our code. So it looks fine, and it seems that we are all done to write our code. Now we just have to click the execute button to run our code. Before hitting the execute button to run our code, we'll just have a look to verify or specify whether we have made any blunder in our code. So copy, this is the schema name, which is this, and a schema should be followed by the table name. This is the table name, student, and the second line code is demonstrating where my current CSV file is deposited or is stored. So that's for that we used from statement, and this is the file path within with the file name and format CSV. And with clause is giving the extra information, the properties of the file and data. And the other thing like format CSV header is present, that's why it's true, and quote also is present, that's why we just had to show this quotation mark inside this bracket. Now we are done with writing our codes, SQL code in PgAdmin to load the CSV file. Now it's time to execute the code. So to do so, we have to click this little icon, triangular icon, to execute the code. So let's hit this and let's see what happens. Click this. Yeah. It says that, message copy 14 and query return successfully in 35 milliseconds. So it means that our code was correctly written and it's been successfully executed in PgAdmin. Now it's time to check out whether all those columns included in CSV file has been loaded or not. So to check out this status, we have to go to the student table, right click and go to view and all rows. You can customize your columns to be viewed, but as we have only 14 rows, I'm just going to load all rows. Click this and let's see. Here you go. Data output, all the columns have successfully been loaded. The first column is GID and also the data type and whether it is primary key or not also mentioned here. So GID, we put in integer, only one integer column, and we also marked it with integer data type. Why I have done this, I will make you understand when we will be going to join this table with another table. Primary key and foreign key are very, very crucial and essential to join between two tables or more. So that's why I just identify this column GID as primary key. And as long as you are working with PostgIS, if you are wanting to load this data into QGIS, you have to bear in mind that you need to have at least two integer value. Those are required to be primary key. So I have just followed this. And the last character varying, first column character varying, and postal code also character varying. So this was a demonstration of how to load CSV file using SQL code. If you wanna see once again your code, you can just go to the query history, and here you just click this and you can see that your query is being shown here. So yeah, that's all for the time being. I will come up with another new video. Till then, bye bye, Allah Hafiz.